Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on into another edition of the Tides Talk podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lowe, as always, taking you through the 2024 season of the defending national champion Norfolk Tides, as we are officially halfway through the season. The first half of the season just wrapped up last week, and so we got some stuff to go through the month of June, how they've been doing, the standings for the first half. And then we also have an interview with Buck Britton about 3 minutes long that I'll play here for you today. So really quick, before we go through anything, let's go through the month of June for the Tides, as it's been quite the month of inconsistency. You see a lot of wins, you see a lot of losses. It starts out with the first day, Saturday, June the 1st, was a loss to the Gwinnett Stripers 2-10, and then they beat them the following day 3-1 on Sunday. They then went to Scranton for a very important series against the Rail Riders, where they played them close in almost every single game. However, they only won two of them, going 2-4 in the series against one of the best in the International League. Following that, they came back home to play against the Memphis Redbirds, where they split that series with them 3-3. A lot of close games in that one, but a couple of nice games. They seem to be rolling a little bit. A lot of offense, putting up 9 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs. The pitching staff, it's been okay. It depends on who's on the mound, but they've been all right. We'll see what goes on with that. After that, they made the trip to Lehigh Valley, a team that they seemed to struggle against immensely when they were in Harbor Park just last month, and they seemed to struggle against them very heavily in this week, starting on June the 18th. And I will say a part of the reason might be because the Phillies, with all the injuries and stuff they've had going on, they've had a lot of big leaguers back down to AAA to make room for certain people, like Johan Rojas, who just got called back up, but like Johan Rojas, Weston Wilson. Some big names have been down to Lehigh Valley, and that's kind of a result there as to why they can't seem to beat them. But they lost five out of 6 to Lehigh Valley. Just some tough games. Pitching staff was absolutely awful. Giving up 9 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs, and 7 runs. Luckily, the offense was able to square away a win there on Saturday, putting up 14 runs for the Tides. After that, we went back to Harbor Park to face the Charlotte Knights, where they lost the first 2 games 2-4, 4-6. I mean, it seems like every time I'm there at the game, they just play absolutely terrible. And they lost 4-2, 6-4. Just rough days for the pitching staff. I will say, the game Tuesday night against Charlotte, Chase McDermott was on the mound, and he did have a very good outing. I believe he went 5 1/3, and he only gave up 2 runs. He had a pretty solid outing. And the bullpen wasn't awful either. It's just you got to put up more than 2 runs to win a baseball game. The business special matinee on Thursday afternoon, they put up a lot of numbers offensively, winning the game 14-4, and then losing on Negro League Tribute Night 9-2, which leaves us with tonight, Saturday night. It is Malmo Oat Milkers night, so the Tides will be the Oat Milkers, wear the uniforms and stuff. Classic. That's the month of June for you. So a lot of inconsistency, a lot of losses, unfortunately. So coming through the first half of the season, it was a rough one. They finished 36-39 in the record book, which clearly is not enough to win the International League. So for those who don't know, the International League is broke up into 2 different seasons technically, halfway through the season. The first half, whoever wins the first half will get to host the International League Championship by the end of the year. So the winner that this year was Omaha. So they won the Omaha Storm Chasers won the International League. So just like the Tides did last year, they will get to host the International League Championship. In second place was the Syracuse Mets. Actually passed the Rail Riders, and they were 46-28. They're about 3.5 games back there. So great run by Omaha. But for the Tides, I mean, it's been very inconsistent. I mean, at the beginning of the year, they were rolling, putting up double-digit runs every night, and now it's a question of whether they're putting up enough runs, but a mix of that as well as with the pitching staff. Still, it's just been a rough one. It's been very, very rough. So it's been tough. But the second half, is what really matters as far as who gets into the championship and who doesn't. So that's what's cool about it is it does reset the records. Everybody starts back at 0 as they go to the second half. And so the Tides right now are 1-3, which isn't good, but it's good to get that fresh record in there to open it up for everybody, to give everybody a chance. Like for Lehigh Valley, for example, they played awful in the first half of baseball, but now that they've got some other guys down there that have been moving up and down all around, it might be a little better for them. We'll have to see. So transitioning from that, I'm gonna play some sound for you here. My interview with Tides manager Buck Britton about the first half of the season, a little bit about Jackson Holliday's health and development since getting sent back down to the Tides. We'll play that now. All right, I'm here with manager Buck Britton from the Norfolk Tides. Thanks for your time, Buck. With 36 wins, how would you evaluate the first half of the season?
Yeah, I think inconsistency is a word I would use. There were times where we played really well, and there were times that we had some letdowns. And when you do that at this level, it's hard to win games consistently. So I think the biggest word is inconsistency, and hopefully here in the second half we can kind of iron some of those out and turn some of those losses into wins and make a push here.
What area of the team do you think is the biggest issue that needs to be addressed in order for better results?
I don't know if there's to single out different phases of the game, because we've been really good in all phases of the game at times. We just kind of have to put it all together. Obviously everything starts on the mound. You pitch well, they keep you in the ball game, and you have a chance to win. But on the flip side, when we do get those good outings on the mound, we got to be able to come up with that big hit, especially with runners in scoring position. And then to tie it all together, you got to take care of the baseball defensively. I think that's where a lot of our problems were in the first half. We were in ball games and we'd make mistakes that kind of put us behind the eight ball, and it's tougher to take at bats when you're down, especially against some of these guys that are really good arms in this league.
Is there any players that have really surprised you throughout the first half because of their development?
We knew a lot of the guys we had coming in had a lot of talent. One of the guys that stands out for me is Billy Cook. Kind of what he's been able to do, where he's at right now. Made some swing changes. He had he put up a lot of power numbers in Bowie last year, and I think we're starting to see that pop back up in game. But he's made some adjustments to become a better overall hitter first, and now that power's showing up. So I'm really excited to watch him go in this second half.
Absolutely. How would you say Jackson's development has been since being sent back down, and how's his health?
Yeah, he's great. He's back to hitting. They're gonna slow play everything with Jackson just because it's a prize jewel in the organization. We want to make sure we do right by him. He's been great since he came down. There was some adjustments that he needed to make. You go to the big leagues, and the pitchers up there will kind of tell you what you need to focus on, what you need to work on. They put together a really good plan. He had some really good at-bats last night, hitting the ball really hard, and I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of go in the second half. He had about a week off. Hopefully he'll hit the ground running here and make his push to get back.
Absolutely. Final question for you. What should we expect from the Tides throughout the second half of the season?
Yeah, it's tough to set expectations. This roster is always in flux, but I just want to see us play more consistent baseball, in all facets of the game. Get quality starts on the mound, take care of the baseball defensively, and be able to, drive in runners when we get them in scoring position, and especially on third base with less than 2 outs. So I think there's improvement all around the field for us, and I'm looking forward to these guys kind of grinding this second half out and playing a better brand of baseball overall.
There you have it, folks. Norfolk Tides manager Buck Britton speaking on the first half of the season, what he likes from his Tides, what he doesn't like, and as I kind of mentioned earlier, and I kind of got this from Buck, but a lot of it is inconsistency. That's what he said is one of the biggest problems. I mean, you go out there, you put in up a ton of runs one night, and then the next night gets shut out. Pitching, you're giving up 2 runs, and the next night you're giving up double digits. It's just, you got to be more consistent. I think that's one of the most important things. So, first half of the season, very rough, I'd say, under 500, but I mean, you still got a whole half of the season left of baseball to play, so we'll see what happens with that. one of the most prized possessions, as Buck said in that interview, is Jackson Holliday in this minor league system. And he recently had an elbow injury that he's been getting back from. He just recently got activated back off the injured list. And so a little bit of an update on him. You kind of heard Buck talk about him. But it sounds like they're going to DH him until the All-Star break. So kind of like you've seen guys like Bryce Harper when he's coming back from an elbow injury, DH for a while, work his way back into the field. I I was there Wednesday for batting practice, and I watched him in the field practice, and he was taking ground balls, but he wasn't throwing them back. He was actually throwing it with his left hand, and it was pretty accurate actually. It wasn't really hard, but he was throwing it accurately with his left hand. He didn't want to throw with his right hand to be safe. So, but he was taking ground balls. Apparently, they threw up to 90 feet that day, which I missed. So that's very impressive. But he is on his way back. He is DHing. So he is back in the lineup. He's just got to work his way to get back in the field. And as he said, he's one of the most prized possessions, if anything, in baseball. And there is absolutely no reason for them to risk anything and rushing him back and anything like that. They got to take his time, make sure that they don't cause anything stupid to happen, which I can absolutely see being a thing. I mean, you don't want a news report coming out saying number one prospect in baseball, Jackson Holliday's career is ruined because the AAA manager rushed him back too early from his injury. You don't want that to happen. So I absolutely understand that. So some upcoming games for the Tides before we get wrapped up here. After they play the Charlotte Knights Sunday, they have a 6-game set with the Durham Bulls. They play 3 games at home, and then on 4th of July weekend, they'll play them 3 times away. So kind of a weird little split series there. But some promotions. There's Bark in the Park Monday, Tuesday, July the 2nd, Tribute to Norfolk Night, and Wednesday, July the 3rd, Fireworks Special Independence Day Show, because obviously they do not play on the official July 4th at home. So that's all you got for really upcoming games. But other than that, we'll see if the Tides can pick it up. I appreciate every single one of you listening. Be sure to drop a follow, subscribe, whatever you're listening on. Put a like on the podcast. I appreciate it. But other than that, I think that's enough from me. So we'll see what the Tides do in the second half of the season, and I'll see y'all next time.